Okay, guys. Sam and Aditi are not here, but one applicant is waiting for feedback. So it would be nice after the meeting you spend like a little bit of a few minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, uh, for this applicant, Arun. So you could provide him feedback, and then I'll deliver it to him. Mm, in today's meeting, I'll try my best to cover everything here. In the last class, we talked about how low trust, developing economies, countries will be the first. I made an example of Uber, right? In Costa Rica and in Colombia, Uber is not officially legalized nor approved, but they use anyway. Uh, if you call Uber from the airport, they will ask you if there's a policeman. So the government will catch up later than actual implementation. And I mentioned that although my personal opinion, regulators, no, smart regulator. Why? Let's say wise. Because it's a redundant. Smart contracts, smart regulators, wise regulators in these countries will also see brighter future from this by benefiting from this. It's like a uh, forbidding Uber and strictly restricting like Airbnb won't be beneficial for them as well either. So the regulators will consider them as well. And so we are talking about with the help of blockchain, just like big tech, Google and Apple came into their economy, and uh, all the general public in those countries benefit or get resourceful from these big techs. They will they themselves will get benefit from blockchains. But here we'll talk about how smart contracts will allow the global capital to flow into low trust economies. Actually, I believe I mentioned a little when I talked about like some African countries, southern uh, southern below Saharan's desert African countries. They will suffer from uh, convincing foreign investors that your investment will be safe despite we are politically unstable. That's not so convincing. But when they're all trades are on the blockchain, and when some of the foreign investors started to be deceived or didn't get paid or lost their investment due to the political instability, it's because that's all visible in the blockchain, like uh, like this. I was looking at Sam's address because Sam did his assignment. He only sent to uh, one person, which turned out to be Aditi. Let's copy this and look up assignment. No, create your metaverse. So we don't know who the hell this person is, but once we know this, we know everything about Aditi. Like, oh, Aditi received money from this person and sent out this person. This it's the same for international trade and those underdeveloped or developing nations. So once they, so Abhinav last time asked me about selling and buying their own NFT for more expensive price. that doesn't make any sense. If that is just for fun, and if others also perceive it as fun, that's no issue. But when it is about serious international trade and they did something wrong here, they fake somebody else here, then nobody will want to trade with that person in the future. So it's really harsh and much more transparent. Uh, the, uh, did 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 this did this very did this answer how smart contracts will allow the global capital to flow into low trust economy? Is that blockchain is universal, global. The money is from a lot of money is also from low trust economies, but a lot of investment will be from advanced economies from Europe, East Asia, and America, North America. Yeah, in these countries, they will, other than Bitcoin, we're not talking about Bitcoin. When we talk about other coins, other blockchain projects, the global capital will flow into low trust economies, taking advantage of this smart contract uh, functionality or feature. The characteristic of smart contract: visible, decentralized, transparent, anybody can see it. So once you lose your uh, credibility, you lose everything forever. You'll have to sell your business to others. If you sell your business, that will be recorded, so that person can start over again. I don't know, maybe because they are different in entity or different people, different persons. Unlike Bitcoin, this is important. We'll cover this here. Different natures of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum's value is determined by the real world assets locked in the Ethereum blockchain and smart contract. So smart contracts are contracts uh, that is written entirely in a programming code. And we mentioned here that NFT is also one kind of type of smart contract. So NFT is simply put it, it's a smart contract, a proof of certification. There are all different kinds of smart contracts. As an example, we saw a Uniswap, right? This kind of smart contract, we saw Uniswap, and we can also copy this smart contract, Sushi Swap, Quick Swap, Pancake Swap. So we can also copy this uh, smart contract as NFT as well. So we can do the same. Um, what we should know about is that with smart contracts, you lock something valuable in the real world. In the real world. So we talked about this real estate NFT thing. Think about this. Is this real estate virtual? It's not virtual, real, virtual, real. Sorry. Virtual, uh, virtually. Let me see. Let me look up the word. It's not virtual land. It's a real virtual land. So NFT for real land. So what that means is that let's draw another one and copy this. Ethereum's value is determined too small. And remove this. So what you need to understand is that in the blockchain, I guess this is not proper. Let's remove everything, unfortunately. Let's copy because I don't want to waste time on drawing everything from the start. So this NFT is could be house in Gangnam, land in Jeju Island. You don't know Jeju Island, so let's say Hawaii. Uh, and mm, bond in bond from El Salvador, stock from uh, Hong Kong exchange. So what you need to understand is that it may not be NFT, but ultimately Ethereum's value uh, will be determined by these things locked on blockchain. So you might be confused that you were thinking that smart contract is completely virtual thing. Uh, when you think about this, when you think about I in the interview in the interview I made an example of decentralized finance, but you have to think about where DeFi where value of decentralized rely on where value is backed by. So we saw actually this is a good time to introduce a stable coin. Let's switch it to mainnet, and then you'll see a lot of stable coins. Let's go first with tokens by market cap. So you'll see uh, wrap Ethereum occupies a large share, but the value of wrap Ethereum will be dependent on how much money is locked on Ethereum blockchain, like the USDC. Let's go to coin market cap. So one of the greatest jobs that Ethereum has ever done is that it allow tokenization of the real world fiat currencies. So when we look at this market cap, Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, and the fourth is Tether, which is US dollar stable coin pegged pegged in US dollar, $1. One Tether, one USDT is always one US dollar. And USDC the same. and there are many other BUSD, Binance USD. They are regulated uh, in some way, and the way they are regulated is that mm, let's say who regulates Binance Coin BUSD. New York something. It was New York something. BUSD. So BUSD is approved, has been approved by New York State Department of Financial. Unfortunately, we'll have to click this. Huh. So it is regulated by New York State Department of Services. So they are the ones, not exactly. They are regulators, and they are in charge of they are in charge of monitoring if this uh, BUSD is well backed by real real world assets. They are the ones real world assets. And this BUSD or USDT are the ones. So what you want to know is that these are the ones that fund that backs DeFi activities. DeFi activities apps. So they are backed by, if ultimately they are backed by real world assets. So you can say that these DeFi is like a, we'll talk later classes, but DeFi is about like they are gambling with money already on the blockchain, and the total the Ethereum, the value of Ethereum blockchain or any other utility blockchain that claims to be more useful, their value relies on the size of the real world assets. And what does it mean by logged in? What does it mean by logged in? So smart contracts, as explained, smart contracts are executed or wait until the conditions are met, and or it could exist as NFT. To have better understanding, just look at house in Gangnam. So this was tokenized as a smart contract. Gangnam is in Seoul, so it's not going to be It's not going to be approved by the city of Seoul nor the Korean government, but they are as I provided in the learning material, there are some U.S. states that try to accept smart contracts as an alternative form of paper contract. So they will accept actually, let's not do this because we have Hawaii. They will accept land in Hawaii uh, as a real contract, and that means your land, the value of your land is locked with your NFT, which is also a smart contract. Let's be clear by writing down the value of the land in Hawaii is as a locked by locked in by being tokenized as an NFT by with a smart contract on the blockchain. Okay, a little bit long and confusing, but this is what happened. The value of the land, this land in Hawaii is locked in. We say locked in because this value, I explained earlier that how NFT can be a proof of the property ownership. So we skip this part. How that NFT are proved? How our research we skip this part. Locked in. It's locked in by being tokenized as NFT with a smart contract on the blockchain. That's because the this the purpose of this blockchain is uh, making contract, and to make contract, what do you need? You need money. You need something valuable, and that valuable thing has to become from what's already valuable, right? What's already valuable, and that's coming from the real world. So the question, what about Bitcoin? That's what I want to explain here. So core difference of Bitcoin and Ethereum is that value of Ethereum, Bitcoin is proves its value by itself. M1, you should look it up. M1, what M1 is. So basic money, such as Indian rupees. You have to prove that Indian rupees are valuable. You don't need to. Or gold or diamond. They don't need to prove their value. They prove this value. Bitcoin proves this value by itself. But let's say you have uh, real estate, real estate ownership certificate, or let's say uh, certificate of anything. You got to understand that these kind of certificate or bus ticket. Why is bus ticket valuable? It's paper, right? It's paper, so it should be as valuable as the value of the paper, but it's not. It's backed by the real world value that backed by the real world value uh, that you can ride a bus. Okay, So Bitcoin is unique in this term. What do you? When do you think is one of the most historical moment in the whole history of Bitcoin? Let's go back to coin market cap. If we think about in terms of price, when do you think is the most historical moment for Bitcoin? Anybody has opinion? Let's look at chart. So it seems like this moment is supposed to be one of the historical moments in Bitcoin. It's not. The historical moment of Bitcoin doesn't even show up here. Change the question. What's more difficult and more historical milestone for Bitcoin? Number one, uh, it it went from $100 to now how much is it? It's now 40,000. But it went over like a $60,000. So this could be a historical achievement. But let's make a number simple. Do you think this is easier? This is more difficult, or this is more difficult? You have to think about this. You have to think about which one is more difficult. Most people will pick this one, which is completely wrong. This is more difficult, much more difficult. This is a historical moment that people in this world number two is the moment that people on this planet agreed to accept the value of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin went from 0 to 1 without NFT, without without smart lock in assets with smart contract. This is important thing. Number two is the historical moment that people on this planet agreed to accept the value of Bitcoin. The value of Bitcoin without NFT, without locked in assets with smart contract. So people decided to accept, made a consensus that Bitcoin is something valuable in itself. Unlike Bitcoin, any other blockchains, including Ethereum, the value of its Ethereum blockchain doesn't arise from the price of the value of ETH. The value of ETH is highly dependent on the value of this locked in coins, which is often called as this ERC20 token, which is an Ethereum. I forgot Ethereum. What was that? But E is Ethereum, and this is kind of a standard that this US dollar this much of US dollar, market cap this much of US dollar, $78 billion and $45 billion are locked in on the Ethereum blockchain backed by real world fiat currencies. So you will think that, Dan, what's the point of blockchain and what's the point of decentralization? We're talking about cryptocurrency. We thought that that had its own value, even if it is volatile, even if it is, even if it has a real small value. But it's not. You got to understand that in this world, in this cryptocurrency, there are two types of cryptocurrency: Bitcoin and any others. So Bitcoin proves its value by itself, just like money and any other coins, Ethereum, and on top of that, other tokens, they will be backed by other real world valuable something. That's the different natures of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that's why there's a core unique difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, so far we are going well with our timeline. We only spent 30 minutes. Very, very good. Before we jump into, let's dig deeper. What do all this mean to the metaverse? This is an important part, but let's check. We are doing well. If I'm doing well. Any questions so far? Until now, any questions? Did you understand the difference between the inherited, not inherited, the value itself, as Bitcoin itself has its value and Ethereum is not? Did you get this? Oh, Adita, oh, didn't. He left. Okay, then if everyone got this idea, uh, let's dig deeper. What do all this mean to the metaverse? So let's go back to our class beginning. Let's go back to the class beginning of the class. Uh, let's be a little bit more discussion based. Uh, do you guys agree that let's not talk about blockchain, without money, without being backed by the economy, something valuable in the economy, VR will stay as a game? Would you agree? First, start from examples. Without a professional soccer team, without capital flow from audiences and advertising companies, professional sports without monetary compensation, there will be no Premier League, no NBA. Would you agree on this? Would you agree on this? I would accept silence as an agreement. So, if you agree on this, would you agree that without something valuable and the real in something valuable in this economy, we are will stay as a pure game, pure game. It's like you have played some games in your life, right? Like a Tetris, like a Mario game, or a Pokemon, any game. Those are pure enjoyment. So we are here are we have three full 3D designers, but you have to accept. You will have to accept that 3D sounds awesome, and it you might want to claim that it has its design value of design. But who's gonna buy that design with money, right? And we already assume that there's no money from the outside world, then nobody is gonna pay you for your design. So you'll have to accept that, and the basis, very fundamental, something that has to back the VR or game, that has to be backed by economy on its own economy or the universal economy, but it has to be backed by something valuable. In that case, you'll be able to exchange, trade, or buy, sell, whatever you can do in that game world. And we call that the metaverse. How is that possible with the metaverse? And the question here you would ask is that I want to use the Apple in-app purchase, man, or I want to use Google Pay. Uh, okay, so that's a very good question. So we gotta go back to why metaverse. No, why metaverse use? Okay, that's a very good question. We have to come back to here. Why don't you the we need to have control over gateway, and why don't you pay in Google in-app purchases or in-app Apple in-app purchases? It's like you go to a traditional Indian street market and you give the merchants a credit card, or you go to Amazon India and you want to pay in cash. That's actually very well explained uh, in, in this example. So you have to understand this is an atomic transaction. In your interview, I made an example that somebody has to make a compromise by sending item first, and then the second person sends money, or somebody has to send money first and sends item later. But in the blockchain world, with smart contract, this transaction can be atomic, meaning that if not happen, it's nothing. Nobody will make a compromise. So what you have to understand from this case is that this whole thing is one transaction, and to make it as a one transaction, it has to be a cryptocurrency. You could still use Bitcoin, Ethereum, but we're gonna use Cool token for our ecosystem. That's one reason why the cryptocurrency is most ideal and the metaverse trade. And let's look at another example. Copy this. Ebooks. Do you really own your ebooks? Think about this. You bought a Kindle ebook from Amazon. Uh, can you sell it? Can you sell it to others? You can resell your physical used book to your others. You can sell your ebook, right? Core difference. Your ebook is just an electronic copy. Electronic copy, and you don't actually own the property right of ebook. What does that mean? Let's say you don't own the full property right. Ebook, you can only you use your ebook within their providers allowed ecosystem, right? That's how exactly the same exactly the same with your game item, your conventional game item, right? And you believe that your ebook is yours. Your ebook is yours. So there, it's no wonder. It's no wonder why typical gamers believe that their game items are theirs, despite whenever the game company wants, they can cut the access and they can take over the property right because it wasn't yours from the beginning. And when most people misunderstand that ebook is not fully yours, you cannot even sell your ebook. It's no surprise that people will believe that their game item is theirs. Digital items, or just a copy of data. And what changes is that how do you sell your ebooks? Let's think about this. You can still sell by tokenize. You can tokenize your ebook with NFT. This is not just a copy. NFT book. There's no NFT. I don't know. Maybe there is. It's just an example. NFT book can be resold, right? Because NFT is unique and it's universal in the blockchain. So you have to, when you see this difference between ebook and NFT book, you'll see the difference between you'll see difference between let's say create this uh, 3D model data versus create this NFT artwork. You'll see that difference. That is that is the huge revolution that's coming. Huge revolution backed by blockchain, which in turn understood by what? The metaverse. The metaverse. So in the metaverse, what was the core? What was the core? What was it? Whole point. What were the whole points? What were the whole points of the metaverse? Hyper interconnectivity and property ownership. So with the blockchain, with the backing of blockchain, with with backing of with is it right? Grammatically, I don't know. With a backing of blockchain, you can do what? You can uh, lock in real world property ownership. What does this mean? You can transport real world assets into the virtual world, which is stopped by metaverse. Okay, let's connect the dot. We agree that VR is just VR. It's just a fun game. But to make VR really, really real, we are seeing that hardware devices are advancing in a rapid rate. But So they want to try new things that were conventionally being done in the real world. In the real world, should I write it down? I don't think I'll add later. So we those companies, Meta, Microsoft, they want to, and the world and the metaverse world wants to do something that were conventionally done in the real world. And to do that, you need to back this real world with real economy. As we saw, we just before we covered this part, blockchain part, you can log in the real world assets with the help of smart contract. NFT is a part of smart contract. So virtual reality is digital, and this is seamlessly connected. You don't pay. You don't pay like a app, cash or in-app purchases in VR. The reason why you don't use in-app purchases is digital. I explain you here the difference of creating 3D model data and creating 3D artwork between ebook and NFT book. I explain you here. So that's the whole picture of how they will be connected. This so if we draw a more uh, if we draw a bigger picture, it's gonna be, let's copy this and create transportation from the real world to virtual world. So for the first time in human history, we are seeing that it is technically possible to transport transport real world assets into the virtual world. Oh, what's wrong here? We are seeing this is starting to happen. It's starting to happen. And why it's really big? You will think that, oh, so what's happening is that the real world economy here, world economy. So your understanding is that, oh, real something from real world economy, real world assets from real world economy is going here, right? Uh, and in the next class, I will tell you this is not, and you'll see that the real world economy is actually this one. I don't want to hide Koolpeace logo though. You'll see that Oh no. You'll see. This is actually what's going to happen. You'll see this. So the real world economy is not this. This is what we are seeing. This is I we some even open-minded people in terms of investment and in terms of futuristic technology, they will see that a real world economy is here, so they are creating their own virtual world economy. They will see like this. uh, they will see it like this, and in the end they will realize that they were actually all connected from the beginning. It's just that you viewed it in this way, but they are the one. And my expectation, obviously, even if I say my expectation is I'm not worst genius. It's all derived from smarter people's opinion, thoughts, and expectation. Uh, Most people and uh, with internet connectivity will perform their economic activities and create economic values in where? In the metaverse. This is what I think. Okay, wow. The first time we finished the class in a conclusion. Bold prediction. Let's discuss or let's accept questions. Is it so clear? Is it is it too much clear that you don't need to ask question? I'm glad, but I am thinking that for over the next week, I will cover more about. So next class, what I will cover is obviously what I will cover is this second part. You might have been able to imagine. Oh, this is super easy, but this might have not. But you should get some idea how it would work after listening to this class. So over the next week, I will cover more in general about the metaverse in terms of this whole interconnected world and what economic values will be created in that metaverse. And further, I hope I hope to cover what our role will be in those new world in that metaverse. And the last week of January, and actually next week, I also want to cover uh, the audience, the only audience, who should be our only target customers or only audience. I hope to cover this. If not, delayed for the next week, and that last week we will be much more discussion based. So uh, actually, Aditya and maybe Sam will want to discuss more technical questions, want to discuss more technical things, but we agreed to talk about that. We agreed to talk about those technical things here, and here to for the designers, uh, we will discuss more the general insight into the metaverse. The last week is gonna be highly discussion based. Okay, if we don't have, oh, we had one message. Absolutely, Les. I am clear today. Okay, so you may go. Bye bye. Uh, Full time members, see you Monday. Part time here, only Rohan. See you on Sunday. Bye bye.
Bye, Julian.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.